Making a living growing walnuts is a happy reality for an increasing number of orchardists, including members of the West Melton-based Walnuts New Zealand cooperative. The cooperative markets fresh New Zealand-grown nuts nationwide under the brand Trickett's Grove. Dr Heather North is a co-founder of the cooperative and its research leader. Along with business partner Clive Marsh, she's been growing walnuts on an orchard close to Lincoln for over 20 years.
We have a 16-hectare orchard, so myself and my business partner Clive Marsh bought this land back in 1998 and we planted it from scratch, beginning with our shelter belts and installing the irrigation, and then we've planted 2,700 trees here, so they're all pretty mature now. We were looking at what would suit here in Canterbury. We gradually made our way to nut, some kind of a nut crop, and then we decided out of the options there that walnuts would be the way to go. There's something that we thought that we could do because we both have a full-time day job, and we thought that it would be something that we could practically do in our spare time after work and evenings. And the other thing that was really important to us at the time as well is that there was already a walnut factory owned by Jenny and Malcolm Lawrence, which was at the time called a cracker of a nut. So we knew that we would be able to sell our crop once we started having a crop. We knew that there was an outlet for that, so that was really important to us as well. We've been averaging about 40 tonnes per year of crop, so we're doing around about 2.5 tonnes per hectare. The cultivars that we have in the ground, they were some that came out of the original Tree Crops Association trials that were done at Lincoln University. So they trialled a whole lot of promising seedlings from around New Zealand. And the ones that we've ended up planting, there's one called Rex and another one called Mayrick, and those are pretty widely planted around New Zealand. We're about 6 weeks away from starting harvest, and then we'll go for 4 or 5 weeks of harvest. But at this stage the nuts are still closed in their green husks, and as we get closer to harvest time those husks will crack and the nut will fall out onto the ground. We harvest them off the ground with our harvester, and then towards the end of the season we bring the tree shaker in and shake the remainder of the crop down once everything's mature. Trickett's Grove is the retail brand of Walnuts New Zealand Cooperative, which is a grower-owned co-op that basically runs the processing and marketing business. So that is the factory that was started by Jenny and Malcolm Lawrence many years ago. And when they wanted to retire, this was back in 2014, sort of as a group of growers, we decided that we wanted to set up a grower-owned organisation to buy the business basically from them. So we set up the co-op, bought the business and all bought shares in it. It has, I think, 45 shareholders at the moment, and so definitely welcoming new growers.
The Walnuts New Zealand Cooperative was established in 2015 to process and market walnuts. As growers, we recognised that if we combined our resources and established something that could give us scale, that we could process and market a lot more efficiently. We also recognised that if walnuts are going to be a viable alternative land use, then we had to have a guaranteed market for our produce, and so the cooperative is enabling that, and yeah, we're pretty excited to say that it's going really well. New Zealand is a net importer of walnuts, so our initial focus is to establish the cooperative, get the processing efficiently, and then to market as an alternative to imports, because it's a much better, fresher produce, and ultimately there is opportunities in the export market, but we're still in the development stages. We will process 230 tonnes this year. We provide about 10% of New Zealand's total consumption at the moment. There's over 500 hectares of walnuts in New Zealand, of which about 270 are in the Canterbury area, and our annual volume is really just at the starting stages. The orchards are just in the early stages of maturity, and we hope to displace more of the imported product as the orchards mature. So the dried walnuts are drawn down over the year by the cooperative, and they are nature's perfect seal, really. Until we crack them, they are looking after the internal kernel themselves, and so we will crack them as the market needs them. That ensures that we've got a fresh product available for the market.
We would recommend the east side of New Zealand as being the best area to grow walnuts. It's a drier climate, so we're looking for low humidity so that we have lower disease pressure. I think it is a good diversification option. If a farmer wanted to put a few paddocks in, that would be probably quite a practical option as a sideline to what else they're doing on their property, or a lifestyler who's looking for something that they could grow on a smaller property. There's definitely quite a bit of capital equipment that you need. I mean, buying the trees, setting up the irrigation, setting up the shelter belts. And then over the years, you would need to buy maybe a harvester, a tree shaker, some washing equipment, because we need to wash the walnuts before they go to the factory, and maybe a dryer. But I do think one of the things we found quite good is that you don't need to buy everything all at once. Because it is a long-term crop, you can gradually buy capital equipment as your trees get older, and as your crop builds up, you can gradually buy what you need. We've just started doing a little bit of work on carbon footprint, which is looking really good at the moment. We had a project done by some scientists from Plant and Food Research last year, and from what they have done so far, it looks as though we're probably sequestering more carbon in our trees than what we're emitting from our orchard operation, which is a really good place to be. Because there's the walnut trees and also, of course, the shelter belts as well. So during the growing period of the trees, it looks as though we're looking quite good as far as perhaps being carbon positive. It's early days though.